What's up, everybody? Back for another beer review, and I'm once again joined by a fellow beer tuber, a buddy, that being Jonah from 6'2 Beer Reviews. Welcome back, Jonah. We totally didn't just review a beer and then now we're reviewing another one. Definitely a different day.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Definitely didn't happen. So yeah, another duo beer review. Jonah and I decided today that we would review a couple beers that he was kind enough to send my way. And this second one, a little bit bigger than the first one. You'll see these reviews about a week apart, but this one I'm really excited for as well because it comes from the Xül Beer Company, and they're out of Knoxville, Tennessee. And this is their Heavy Rhymes. I just love the cleanness of the label. Like, it's just,
oh, that's awesome.
I love the lemon lime kind of color scheme too. Like, it's pretty fantastic.
Sure.
So this is a double IPA with Citra, Galaxy, and Nelson Sauvin hops. Comes in at 8.4% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review. These both came from the same 4-pack, and it was canned on 8/26/24. So it's just over 1 month in the can. And I would love if you went and checked out Jonah's channel. So in the description box, I'll post a link to his channel, along with the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all 6 beers he sent my way. He sent me 6 beers from the great state of Tennessee. And I was so happy that he sent a Xül beer because one of my favorite Simcoe hopped beers of all time is their Adidas, which stands for All Day I Dream About Simcoe. They use Simcoe so beautifully in that beer. And to date, when I think about Simcoe hops, I literally think about that beer first and everything else after that, which is wild because I've only had 3 beers from them, but that kind of stuck with me. So Jonah has had not only this beer, but he's also had the base beer, the regular IPA called, what was it called, Joe?
Rhymes Like Dimes.
Rhymes Like Dimes. So this is the Imperial version, the double version of it. Same hop bill and everything. Jonah and I both Nelson fans. So definitely looking forward to this one. So yeah, not much more to say about it. We're going to give it a pour here. And anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
You've had this.
This is the first time I have had this. Had on draft a few times. I think this is the first time they've released this. Pretty sure. So
nice. Was it just on draft before, basically?
I think so.
Or did they never produce this? And they just first released
I looked on Untapped. There weren't too many check-ins. So
yeah, I actually have the Untapped open here for whatever reason. Yeah. So this is relatively new. It says 184 monthly check-ins, so in September, but only 232 total, which would indicate to me they released this one obviously in August. Yeah. So, all right. So yeah, that has the milky vibes to it. Still a little bit darker, not like, again, I think mine's coming off more of how it looks. Yours is a little bit more dull, but it has that milky look that a lot of people enjoy, just a bit darker, I think. Almost 2 fingers, super creamy, bright white head. Looks fantastic.
We're rolling with the hashtag proper glassware, Joe.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let me blow this up again. Put it. Oh my God. Hashtag proper glassware. I got to see it.
Let's go.
Oh yeah. There you go. I know Joe will be very happy about you doing that. He might be the only one. All right. Let's get a nose. Oh yeah. Yeah, dude, that. So if you're not a Nelson fan right off the nose, then you're probably going to hate this beer, I would assume.
Yep.
It just has that. It's more to me in the nose like white wine than white grapes.
Yeah.
But it has that funkiness that Nelson produces with that is just like, it's unmistakable to me.
Yep.
Pineapple. What else?
I'm getting everything you're getting.
Yeah.
I get a little like confectionery vanilla thing in there.
Yeah, dude. See, that's wild. So that's wild. That's when you said that, I was gonna actually say that I'm getting like almost like there's a lactose sweetness in here in the nose. Like with lactose, I usually get a confectionery vanilla. Yeah. That's what I get with lactose. I'm not saying lactose is in here, but that's kind of what it's reminding me of. But yeah, you're 100%. Has that vanilla, almost like confectionery. When they say confectionery, I almost feel like vanilla frosting, but maybe not as rich as something like that. Just like that kind of aroma. Like you're smelling like a piece of like birthday cake with vanilla frosting. Just the frosting part, though. Yeah, there's this a little bit of that funkiness from Nelson, like almost like a funky, like floral greenish kind of twang.
Yeah, like a piney type earthy note. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like almost like garden-esque. Like some folks will say, like Matt over at Massive Beers will a lot of times say like tomato stock, which I get. I like saying if like you kind of walk through like a garden or like a forest, but more of a garden where you're like smelling like fresh leaves and things like that, like just a fresh, earthy kind of aroma. It definitely smells like it's going to lean a little bit sweet. I don't know if it is because I've never had it, but it definitely just seems a little bit more intense with a perceived sweetness on the nose.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's pretty much fruit-wise. It's pineapple. It's that white wine, white grape kind of feeling. Maybe a little bit of like a nondescript, like citrus. Like if you told me orange, sure. If you told me grapefruit or tangerine, all right. Like I wouldn't argue. I'd be like, all right.
Yeah, but it's
Smells
definitely
really good.
Nelson forward for sure.
Oh yeah. Even though it's the last hop listed, it's definitely like the first hop that I noticed.
Yep.
Little peppery tinge. I almost feel like a little peppery note. Maybe my nose is just broken. I don't know. Smells fucking really good though.
It does.
Let's get into it, good sir. Thank you again for the beer. Cheers. Yeah. That mouthfeel is fucking spectacular. Wow.
Yep.
Holy shit. Like that is a great mouthfeel. Mm-hmm. Like when people talk, so you talk your tree houses, your other halves, your Fidens, all whatever top tier brewery you want to say nowadays with the mouthfeels. Like this is right in that range. That's what this is. It is fucking soft, smooth, and creamy. It's almost like drinking what I would assume a pillow would be like, or a cloud. Jesus Christ. And the body's great too for 8.4. Like higher side of medium, lower side of full, like kind of saturates the palate, like kind of coats the palate. Wow, this is a scary drink. I forgot it's 8.4%. Like, totally forgot.
Oh, it's so drinkable for a double IPA. I get like a little bitterness on the finish.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a little. I mean, the drinkability of this one, like based on just the body, the mouthfeel alone, is fucking fantastic. But like, it's pretty well balanced. I mean, flavor wise, yeah, what we got in the nose is pretty much what I'm getting the taste.
Yeah.
Like that Nelson character from front to back. It's more white grapey on the, like a juicy white grape on the palate. And I think that when you said that bitterness, I'm also getting a dryness that is akin to like a white wine dryness. Yeah. Where again, I think the Nelson influence is really hitting.
It's not as sweet as you'd expect off the
nose.
No.
That's why I said I was on the nose. I was like, this is gonna be a little bit sweet, and then I fucking taste. I'm like, not really. It between that like firm dryness and that like mild to moderate bitterness, it really does balance out. Because like I'm sitting here, took a couple sips. It's very dry on the palate. Like there's not a ton of saliva on my tongue or like on the sides of it. I know this is weird because there's no motueka in here. I'm getting a little lemon lime citrus.
Yeah, I see that.
Like almost like I was just saying like a candied or like a soda pop, like a Sprite, 7-Up. Fuck off, Starry. What the fuck is Starry? Unbelievable. Sierra Mist was trash too, so it doesn't matter. No, but yeah, no, dude, this is for 8.4%. This is infinitely drinkable, kind of scary to some degree, and I don't think I'm getting a ton of the Galaxy. It's I think the one downfall of this one, and by downfall I mean just like a little bit of a disappointment. Like usually that crushed pineapple or something Galaxy wise, but maybe not because the Galaxy crops haven't been great the last couple of years. I think we talked about that in the home style review, but I'm glad this is a Nelson bomb because it's really hitting.
Yeah, it's straight Nelson. Let me see. Yeah, Citra too. I forgot the other hop, isn't it?
Yeah, which is wild that I'm getting like that lemon lime because I don't get that typically in Citra or Galaxy. Maybe it's just a combination of all three hops. I mean, This is one of those beers where I like to say it's not overly complex, but it doesn't need to be delicious. Like this does not need to be. You don't need a beer to fucking have 25 different tasting notes and have all this kind of crazy shit going on to just be a delicious beer. And this is the prime example of like there's white wine, white grapes, a little bit of lemon lime. It's fucking dry, has a mild to moderate bitterness, very well balanced. Body mouthfeel fucking spectacular. You can't taste the 8.4.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
I'd like to put this next to Rhymes Like Dimes, kind of see how it compares to the smaller version.
That'd be a cool thing to see on your channel if they release them again at some point and get your hands on them to do like a side by side, just to see what that extra 2% or like 1.9% or whatever the difference is, because this is obviously just a ramped up version of that to see the differences with the body, the mouthfeel, intensity to the flavors and everything. But this is a beer that drinks, I think, below its ABV. But it's scary because if you drank a 4-pack, if you drank a couple cans of this, you'd be pretty sloshed. And then you drink a 4-pack. Imagine if you drank a 4-pack over like the course of watching, Jonah, Steelers fan, I'm a Seahawks fan. Fuck your Steelers for beating us back in the day with Hasselbeck and Roethlisberger going head to head. Anyway, if you watch that over the course of like a football game, let's say you drank like one can an hour or something, you're fucking done. You'd be done. I'd be done. I'd be in a fucking ditch somewhere.
Yeah, the other thing I want to mention too, I had this on draft at the tap room. Usually I don't say this, but I like it more out of the can. I don't know the science behind that. Usually it's the opposite, but
I think the I do say, like a lot of people will say that off the tap, right, is typically better than the can or the bottle. But I also think people don't take into consideration enough like the atmosphere of what you're drinking and when you're drinking and how it's going. Like if you're in a fucking brewery and you're drinking great beers and you have friends and family or whatever, I always feel like the beers are always going to be elevated just because of the atmosphere. And then you get at home and like, put it this way, put yourself at a brewery, drinking a beer with a bunch of your best friends and just having great conversations for hours. And then what you remember that beer, and then you come home and turn on the fucking camera like this and you sit and break it down, over 10, 15 minutes, you're going to be more critical when you're drinking this. Whereas on tap, you're not as critical. So I always feel like on tap, your perceived thoughts of that beer are always better than when you just come home and break it down. And that even goes for like when you go to like, say, bottle shares or beer fest. You're always, oh, this is great. I'm at a beer fest drinking 30 beers or whatever. Everything tastes great. Well, your palate's shot probably halfway through it. And, you're just, everything's lottie fucking da, right? So that says a lot what you just said, because we're sitting here breaking it down, talking, just taking sips. And the fact that you said this is better than what was on tap, that is a rarity for a lot of people. I agree.
Yeah.
So
it could very well have bbeen something to do with me having their PB and J mixtape sour before this beer.
Did you see cans of that? I just saw it on Instagram when I was scrolling through. They're releasing it again tomorrow, I think, or
I had a buddy, I had a friend save a can of their blueberry one for me, so I got a review of that one coming up.
Nice. I can't wait to see it, because I'll tell you what, a lot of PB and J beers I've had. That Demi Hydra I had from Mortalis, one of the best I've ever had, like peanut butter and jelly. But then I've heard nothing but great things about the mixtape from Xül for the PB&J. So it's always fun to try peanut butter and jelly beers. They're novelty beers. You're not going to sit there and crush them, but man, they are fucking delicious. Yep. They really are.
Yeah.
This beer is also fucking delicious. This beer is great. Like I had pretty high expectations, that couple beers I've had from Xül and that Adidas. But this Nelson shines in this, but also the drinkability is through the roof for something that's 8.4%. Like it's crazy how drinkable this beer is.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely have to like Nelson to like this Nelson white wine.
Mm-hmm. I would say gooseberries if I actually ever had like authentic ones. I've had gooseberries here once, but they weren't. I don't think they were like authentic, straight, real gooseberries. They were called like golden berries. They're like an offshoot of gooseberries. I know, according to Joe, they don't exist. I don't know if I want them to exist. I'm almost like it's weird. Like not have like I tried lychee for the first time recently, and that's a fucking weird fruit, right? Like the texture of it's real weird. And I was like, oh, it just kind of tastes like generic tropical fruit. since I had that lychee, which was in the past month or so, in 2 different reviews, I actually called out lychee because I'm like, I'm hearkening back to when I had that. So maybe it wasn't generic tropical fruit. Maybe it was actually fucking lychee.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's how I feel with a lot of tropical fruits. Papaya, all those.
I feel like papaya specifically was more about the consistency and texture of the papaya than the actual flavor. Like it had this like, mine was like slightly overripened. So it was like creamy and like fucking just kind of like fleshy. And I was like, wow, this is actually texture wise pretty cool. But like flavor wise, I'm like, it's kind of musty. It's like kind of musty, kind of different. Like I couldn't sit there and tell you exactly what it tastes like. But yeah.
Have you ever had dragon fruit?
I have not had dragon fruit because they're always crazy expensive. Like wherever you see them, they're like $7-8 for some one of them.
Overhyped.
Yeah. Overhyped, yeah. I had prickly pear for the first time earlier this year, and that thing sucked to eat because like you were constantly like, spitting out like seeds and shit, and it was just like the flavor was good, and it kind of had almost like a bubblegum flavor to me, which in prickly pear beers I've picked up on bubblegum, so it made sense. But like the actual like what you had to do to eat the fucking fruit was like, I don't want to ever get this again. This is like a lot of work. But I need to try dragon fruit at some point. Just bite the bullet, spend the $7 or $8 or whatever, and just see. But yeah, I don't have high expectations. And also just a freaky fucking looking fruit. Like you see that thing from the outside, you're like, what?
Oh yeah.
It looks like a weapon. And then you open it up, it's like all white with like seeds, right? It's weird. Yeah. Now this is really good. I don't know, like I don't know if it's good as the Adidas, just because I think the memory of that beer is probably better than I'm thinking, but I remember that just being a Simcoe bomb. But this isn't far off from that. I gave that a 4.5, I think. I think this is fucking up there. This is like really good. Like 3 things make this beer for me. If you lump in the body and mouthfeel as one, is one of those beers I want to drink just for the body and mouthfeel. Kosher palate. It's fucking pretty viscous for an 8.4% beer. Soft, smooth, creamy, fantastic. Number 2, the Nelson character in here is exactly what I want. White wine, white grape, has that like white wine dryness. And then number 3 is that it just hides the alcohol extremely well. I can't tell this is 8.4 outside of the body and mouthfeel. No, like a little bit of warming in chest, no astringency on the palate. It drinks lighter than it is from that aspect. So this is a scary, scary double IPA as a whole. How about you?
I love it. I'm a big Nelson fan though. So
yeah, me too.
You know, I mentioned before I don't rate beers too often, but I'm pretty generous when I do rate my beers.
Especially if you like them, right? If you like them, you're a little bit more like, yeah, fuck it, 4.4, 4.6, 4.9, whatever.
This is 4.75 for me all day.
I'm not going to be that far off. I mean, I'm right there with you. So what I'm going to have to do is get the thumbnail here. I'm going to go 4.5. I think I like this as much as the Adidas, just in a different way. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I love that beer because the Simcoe influence is just fantastic. But this beer right here, the Nelson influence is also fucking fantastic. And I just can't get over the body, the mouthfeel, and the drinkability of this one. Like a lot of beers that look like this don't have a big dryness or any kind of bitterness. This has a mild to moderate bitterness, big dryness, really balances it out and just makes me want to cry. Like if I was drinking like I did back in the day, like I could easily house 2 or 3 of these, I'd be all fucked up. But I wouldn't know any better. Like I just pick, oh, this is great. Then I'd be like, why can't I fucking speak properly? It's because of the Beer Patrol. We don't speak properly here, period. Press point availability. Here we go. Here we go. I remember this time, Jonah. What we got?
There we go. 22 for 4-pack.
Okay. Kind of going rate.
Yeah. Unexpected.
Doesn't make it easier to pay that much, but kind of the going rate.
No. Yeah. I'm still paying it though. I mean, I love this beer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, if I see it again, yeah, I'll pay it. I'm all right with it.
I mean, I feel like it always, for me, price point specifically is in the eye of the beholder. Like, you know, like the heavily fruited sours you get, they're typically $25 a 4-pack, no matter where you go. People will be like, I'm not paying that for a fucking 5.5% fruited sour. And it's like, well, there's also a bunch of people that totally will. That's why they charge that price. And fruit puree is fucking crazy expensive. The same thing with beers like this. The hops they're getting and the amount of hops they use in a beer like this, quite expensive. So, you got to take in consideration that for $5.50 a can, I would totally buy this again at 4.5 out of 5. You gave it a 4.75. Like, it's a fucking great double IPA and just as good as that Adidas. So I've had 4 beers now from Xül, 2 double IPAs, 1 Simcoe, 1 with Citra Galaxy, and Nelson. Both got a 4.5. I also had their Heifer series, but I fucked up. And not fucked up, I purposely did it. I picked up their Citra and Enigma one. I hate Enigma hops with a passion of 1,000 suns because Enigma hops taste like straight up trash to me, like garbage, like rotting garbage.
I haven't had it too often, so
it's fucking. And I've had it 3 different breweries. Other half I had it, Hop Butcher, and then at a Xül. And I've had a couple more, but those are the 3 that stick out. And all 3 beers were fucking ruined from the Enigma hops. Now, however, the Xül beer was saved because the Citra really was more of the predominant note. So the Enigma didn't have as much of an influence as you'd expect. So I still like the Heifer. It was just like that. Without the Enigma, it would have been way better. And then I had a black lager that was a little bit disappointing from Xül. It was a little bit too sweet and thin. But the 2 double IPAs I had are fucking top notch. So, and I know that's what they're known for, that and the sour. So it makes sense. But yeah, if you guys see this, oh yeah, availability. You like it's Xül. Like we got 1 drop of them up here in Buffalo, New York, and then haven't seen anything in like a year plus. So
I'm surprised you saw them up there. I didn't know they got out much.
We get the most weird distribution that I've ever seen in my life. Like places will show up that I had no idea that there was even a consideration that they would be in Buffalo, New York, but they get like 1 drop or maybe 2 drops and then they're gone. Xül, Southern Grist, both of them came up and then they like distro maybe for a couple months, gone. Great Notion out of Portland, they showed up. They had a $7.50 Pilsner on the fucking shelves that no one bought. And I was just like, what are you guys doing? Who's paying $7.50 for a Pilsner? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, weird fucking distro. Nowadays, when people ask me about distro, I always do the price point and availability. But like distro is just weird. Like, I don't know. Sometimes shit shows up, sometimes it doesn't. If I ever see this beer, though, I'd definitely buy a can or 2 based on this review. All right, we're going to shut it down. What?
I was just going to say, our distro is trash down here. We don't get too much from outside. But,
really?
Yeah, Tennessee's weird. I don't know.
That doesn't surprise me. You know why? Because Tyler from South 10 Beer Reviews, I think I mentioned on the homestyle review that we did, he was like on that like Tennessee, like Georgia, like, but there was a real nice bottle shop in Georgia that he would get all kinds of crazy shit. Like Mortalis was just like would show up there and shit, like wild shit, right? But I never really heard him say too much about going to like Tennessee bottle shops or beer stores. So that actually makes a little bit of sense. That's weird. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so we're going to shut this one down. Once again, go check out Jonah's channel, especially if you want some different reviews from, not your mainstay breweries for the most part. He's very Tennessee-centric. He's originally from Ohio, so he'll sprinkle those in. And recently he got some Treehouse stuff. Not to say that, Jonah's not going to review some shelf turns at times, but I'm just saying, like, he's more local-based in terms of what he reviews for the most part. But that's why I love watching the reviews on top of, I enjoy your review styles, the fact that you review the Xüls and the Southern Grist and the Marble Foxes and the Bearded Irises and all these local breweries, because I don't see reviews of those breweries much. So if that sounds like your jam, go check out his channel. I think the two Barrique beers and the Southern Grist sour left to review still. So I'll probably get into those in the next couple of weeks. Outside of that, yeah, I can't thank you enough for the awesome box of goodies, and thank you for joining me for 2 reviews in the same night that we're not posting in the same day. But I thought it was okay. Like I said, I usually drink 1 beer a day, but I figured homestyle being 6%, wait a little bit and take down this one. All right. I'll be all right. Yeah, it's all right. It happens. So yeah, anyway, go check out the channel. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. I was going to do the whole fucking, I already did that enough. We're going to do this. Cheers, everyone. Thanks again for everything, Jonah. Appreciate it, buddy.
Cheers, man. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.